Hi, this is Dr. Nazare. I'm going to be doing a short video today. And I'm going to be talking about something that I was talking about before I went to Spain and we had this big gap. And I was talking quite a bit about narcissism. And I think it's appropriate to continue talking about it today in what's happening in our country of the United States right now, to perhaps understand it a little more. So I'm going to kind of say a little bit about the misunderstanding of narcissism. So the first thing that is what everybody thinks is that narcissism is a self-love. It's like liking yourself and loving yourself. And in truth, that is not at all what's happening. It's precisely because the person doesn't like themselves and doesn't love themselves that they need to present a persona that says that they are great. And that they're very good at something or many things, depending on who it is. So I think one thing I would like to tell today is to misabuse you of the idea that narcissism is a self-love or a self-liking. If you think about it, those people who talk about that they're very good at this or very good at that, it tends to be that they're not, and they need to say it, and this is what happens with even traits of narcissism. They need to say it, but they're really talking to themselves. It's like they're trying to convince themselves that this is true. So somebody who's really smart and able intellectually doesn't tend to go around saying, I'm really smart. It's the person who doesn't think that quite able, or that they feel bad about their intelligence or their ability intellectually, that has a need to say so. The same thing with somebody good looking. You know, somebody who's really attractive and good looking doesn't really need to put a lot of makeup on, if it's a woman, for example, or look at themselves very often in the mirror. The person who's looking at themselves in the mirror often are actually not feeling that good about themselves, and it's almost like they're checking all the time to make sure that they're looking okay. And when it comes to people with makeup, like women, those who put on a lot of makeup are actually not comfortable with the lack of makeup. So somebody who's really comfortable in their level of attractiveness may put on makeup or may try and look good one day or another, but they would be completely okay being found one day without any makeup or being made up in any way, if it's a man or if it's somebody who's like really trying to look perfect. They're probably not feeling that good about it. So it's the opposite of what it appears. So first I wanted to kind of fix the misinformation about narcissism and recognize that those who are boasting about whatever it is, it's really the opposite that's going on. It's really that they feel bad in that realm, whatever realm it might be. I've given you two examples. One is the physical looks, the other one is the intelligence. But it could be anything. It could be, you know, I'm a fantastic lawyer, and maybe that person is actually not feeling that good about their law skills. Or with me, being a psychologist, I don't go around saying that I'm a fantastic psychologist. And if I'm doing that, it must mean that I don't feel that confident about it. So here you have a couple of examples to use to look at yourself and look at others. In addition to that, today I'm going to begin with just one piece about what I've talked about before, which is what are the ingredients that makes for somebody who's narcissistic or who has a narcissistic personality disorder. And one of the ways that we become narcissistic or with a narcissistic personality disorder is what I have called being the chosen one. So in a family, if there's various children, and one of them is selected as the good one, the smart one, the pretty one, the whatever, the examples I was giving up earlier, the one that's chosen by a parent or parents as the most important one and the approved one and the valued one, that is one of the ways in which the person will become narcissistic. Why? Because they're expected to be good. They're expected to be pretty. They're expected to be intelligent. They're expected to be funny. They're expected to be skillful. So the parents are putting a lot of pressure on that child to be a particular thing. And as children, we are desperate for recognition from our parents. We need it, all of us, to develop and to feel well. And we need our parents for absolutely everything when we're young. We're very vulnerable because we need them not just physically, but emotionally and as guides. So what happens is that when one child is selected as the chosen one, as I call it, then that child feels a need to be really good at whatever it is that they're expected to be good at. And not being good at that means that they're worthless. Why? Because the parent is expecting a lot from that child. So one of the ways in which a person can become narcissistic is by being the chosen one in the family. Now that can happen to a child that's an only child, obviously, but if you have a few children, then it does happen. This is not the healthiest family environment, of course, but it does happen that one can be selected as the chosen one, the precious one, the smart one, the funny one, the whatever it is, or a variety of things. Maybe the sports. It can happen in sports as the one that's really good at sports. So what happens again is that they don't feel they can be valued, loved, or cared for without performing. And that's one of the ways in which you can become very narcissistic, and even all the way to having a personality disorder, is by being chosen. Now, sometimes what happens in families, again, not the healthiest environment by any means, because as I've explained before, if you end up having narcissistic traits or furthermore having narcissistic personality disorder, this is a very dysfunctional and a very unhappy setup psychologically for that person. So another way that it can happen, and it's happened in the realm of politics right now, this is some situation that I am referring to, which is that let's say that one of the children is selected as the chosen one, but for whatever reason that person falls out of grace, and so then the children that are in that family maybe look into that sibling as competition, because that is the one that's been selected. So that they may be wanting to be like that child because they want to be approved of, they want to be chosen. So if the chosen one falls out of grace for whatever reason, then another child could try and take that place. And again, this is the situation where there's a lot of evaluation in the family of origin. There's a lot of giving evaluation to different realms, whereby the children get the sense that they're only valued if they perform in a certain way or in a certain realm. So that is what I want to give you today, that one of the ways in which we can become narcissistic and people become narcissistic is by something that is also counterintuitive, which is that the one that is the precious one, the chosen one, is damaged in that way because they are now needing to be the precious one throughout their life. And when they're not, when they fail to be, which they will, because it's inevitable that they're not going to be the utmost of anything all the time. It's impossible. They will feel horrible and they will try again to get to the top. But they are not happy ever because they're constantly trying to be at that level, which humanly is impossible, to be the top one, to be the best one. So I hope this is helpful. This is a short video today to tell you a little bit about this. And I will continue another day with the realm of, again, misinformation about narcissism, as well as a little explanation as to one of the ways that it happens. This is one of them, and I'll talk about more another time. So if you like this, please indicate so. And if you think it's helpful, share it with other people. And make sure to ask questions or comments if you want. I'd be happy to answer that in future videos. So goodbye for now, and I hope you have a good week. This has been a difficult week for me, but I hope it's better for you. Okay, bye-bye.